If you're thinking about making that move to Palm Beach, Florida, well, this video is for you. Today, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of moving to Palm Beach, Florida. There's a lot involved when it comes to moving. If you're thinking about moving to Palm Beach, Florida, today we're going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. Welcome to Palm Beach, Florida. My name is Ray Fernandez. I am with Living in Palm Beach, Florida, powered by eXp Realty. And if this is the first time here to my channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button over in the corner. Each week we talk about all there is to do, see, live in Palm Beach, Florida. While you're at it, ring that little bell. What that'll do is that'll notify you each time I put out a new video. I put out new videos every single week. Also, while you're at it, why don't you hit that like button? What that does is that helps to get more people in to see these videos, and we'd love to help people relocate to here, to one of the most beautiful parts of the world, Palm Beach, Florida. 15 years ago, my family and I moved to this beautiful part of the world called Palm Beach, Florida, and we haven't looked back. Today, it is truly an honor to help people do exactly the same. Each week we receive calls from people just like you, interested about knowing what's involved with relocating to Palm Beach, Florida, and we absolutely love it. So if that's you, if you're thinking about relocating or want to know more about what there is here in South Florida and Palm Beach, Florida, well, down below is our email address. That's one great way to reach out. Also is our phone number. You can either email or text to there, but the best way is in the description and in the comment section, there's a link. Click on that link. That is a great way for us to connect, either through a Zoom or through a phone call. In either case, we have your back when it comes to relocating to here in Palm Beach, Florida. So when you're discussing the pros and cons of moving to Palm Beach, Florida, the number one element you want to consider is the weather. Here we have a very subtropical environment. So one of the cons, if you do not like humidity, this is not the place for you. We have a very humid climate. Now, I don't feel it here today because we're here in beginning of November, so things have cooled down. But we basically have two seasons. We have one long rainy season, one long dry season, one long hot season, and one long cool season. So let me explain. So from about April through about, let's call it October, is sort of like our long summer. So it's not any hotter here than it is in the summers up in the north, northeast, north, midwest. It's not any hotter. In fact, it's maybe even cooler. There are lots of days in the summertime when we are cooler than the people up in New York, up in the north. So what happens is we never get above 95. I see lots of people up in the north that you'll get 100-degree weather and all that. We will never get that. It's never been, my 15 years, it's never gone to 100 degrees here. So the reason is in the afternoon, we get these sea breezes that kick in, just cools everything down. So we never get above, we never get to mid-90, we never get above that. So we basically have, that is our summer. We have one long rainy season. We get rain, let me get the number to be exact. We get 63 inches of rain, and the rest of the country gets 38 inches of rain. So that's the season that we get it. So also to note is that once the winter comes around, which is right about now, right about mid-October, right around November, right where we are right now, the seasons change. We get almost no rain. It will not rain pretty much from now until about May of next year. So we have one long rainy season, one long dry season. Now, just because it rains doesn't mean it's a complete washout. See, in Florida, we get rain pretty much in the afternoon when it rains during the rainy season. In fact, they call Florida the Sunshine State for a reason. We get 238 days of sunshine a year compared to the rest of the country, which gets 205 days. So in the winter, we really have the best winters here. So our coldest months are January and February, and our typical January and February days are high 75 degrees, low 55 degrees. Here we are in November, and we're getting a little bit of a cold front came through a couple days ago, and we're getting a little bit of that weather now, thus the jacket. So we start around the 50s, mid 50s, and we'll go up to 75 degrees. In terms of how cold does it get? Well, we will get, in fact, if you look at the statistics, we will get 0.4, that's less than half a day, of temperatures below 32 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So we only get 0.4 days below freezing here in Palm Beach, Florida. One of the great pros about living here in Palm Beach, Florida is the area in which we live. We are close to so many great things. So if you have kids and you want to go to Orlando to the amusement parks, well, we're only about a 2.5 hour ride, so it's quite reasonable. One of my favorite places in the whole world to go to, period, is Key West. So we are about, with traffic, if you get the traffic right, we are about 4-hour ride to Key West, which is one of the most beautiful places in the world. If you want to go to some of the upper keys, such as Key Largo, then you're only looking at about 2-hour ride. So our location is great. Tampa on the west coast of Florida, and all the other great places there. They have a place called Siesta Key. They have Bonita Springs. We're only literally about 2.5 hours ride from there. So the location here in Palm Beach, Florida, you can't beat. So I'll give you one of the other cons. One of the cons is it gets crowded in the winter. Here we are in the season. The season is pretty much starts mid-October. It goes through April. And there are certain areas that are very seasonal, like here in Palm Beach is an example. Palm Beach is a full-time residence of about 9,000 people, and in the wintertime, in those months, their population will go up to about 25,000 people. There are other areas that are seasonal as well, such as Wellington, Florida. Wellington, Florida is the winter equestrian capital of the world. And so people from all around the world that are into horses and polo and equestrian things, they will come this time of year for the polo matches and so forth. So it does get crowded here in Palm Beach in the wintertime. Now, they say up north when the fall hits that your leaves change. Well, our saying here in Florida is that in the fall and the winter, our leaves don't change so much, but the license plates change. The state license plates change here in South Florida during the fall into the winter. We call those people snowbirds, and that's the reason why we get a bigger crowd here. So if you don't like crowds, and if you're from a very rural area and you don't like big crowds, well then maybe South Florida is not for you. Now, one of the other very important factors that I need to mention is, because it's a big one, is the cost of living. So I've done videos on this before. Like many of you know, I am originally from New York, so I will compare it to there. But I think it also strikes a chord with other areas too. If you live in Philadelphia, if you live in Chicago, if you live in Ohio may be a little bit slightly lower. But in general, the cost of living here in South Florida is about 22% lower than it is up in the Northeast, specifically compared to New York. So one of the other benefits to living, or pros to living here in Palm Beach, and one big reason people are moving here, is the taxes. So we in Florida, the whole state of Florida, do not have a state tax. So if you're earning income on a job or a business of some sort, you will not be paying state taxes. That's a huge benefit. I know a lot of places up in the Northeast and the Midwest, you have high state taxes. We here don't have that. How do we pay for things here? Well, we do it through a few ways. We do it through real estate taxes. That's one of the big ways. Palm Beach County will tax your home, and like anywhere else in the country, quite frankly. And that's how they are able to fund a lot of the projects that we have here. So you might ask the question, well, how expensive is the real estate taxes? Well, I have found, again, moving from Long Island to here in Palm Beach, Florida, the real estate taxes are actually a little bit lower here in Palm Beach County versus New York. We also pay for things through our sales tax. Here in Palm Beach, Florida, we have a 7% sales tax. A few years back, about 5 years or so, we had a 6%, and for some ridiculous reason, the citizens of Palm Beach County decided to vote to raise it to 7%. But in any event, our sales tax here in Palm Beach, Florida is 7%, which I think is pretty comparable to a lot of places around the country. So in regards to real estate taxes, we have something that's also extremely powerful here in Florida as a whole, but definitely here also in Palm Beach, Florida, is we have something called Homestead, and the provisions within Homestead, which is called the Save Our Homes. Let me explain to you what that means. When you're a full-time resident of Florida, you're able to apply for Homestead. What that does is it helps reduce your property taxes. So as an example, you will get a $50,000 exemption off the assessed value of your property as deemed by the county. Essentially, that means you're going to get a savings of about $900 in your taxes per year, which is helpful. But one of the biggest benefits of it is the Save Our Homes provision within Homestead. What that does, it forbids the county from raising your assessed value more than 3% any given year. That's huge. When it comes to a year like this year, where property values have gone up somewhere in the area of 20 to 25%, the county can't just jack your assessed value up and start taxing you on that higher amount. They can only raise it 3%. So when property values are up 25%, they're only raising it 3%. That's a huge savings. So when people live here in Florida for a long period of time, let's say 20 years, you'll see a lot of people's assessed values and what they're taxed on a lot lower than the market value of what their home is truly worth. Let me give you another con. The driving around here stinks. So we have very aggressive traffic. If you drive down in Miami, we don't have the same transportation that you get in New York City, like the subways and stuff. So they have buses. They do have a couple of trains, like the Tri-Rail and so forth, which is not the same as the subways, but people are taking advantage of it. But in general, the driving around here is very difficult. And I'll tell you, there's a couple factors that I'm sure you can relate to because of it. We do have a lot of transient people here. So people in Florida, a lot of them haven't lived here a long time, so they might not know the roads all that well. That's a factor. We have a lot of snowbirds. We have people that are seasonal, that are only down here for a couple of months, a few months. Again, they don't the roads that well, so they might not know where they're going. We, in general, have an older population compared to the other part of the country, so maybe people that shouldn't be driving are driving. Whoa, getting hit by some water here. In any event, the driving around here in Palm Beach, Florida, that is definitely what I would consider one of the cons of moving to Palm Beach, Florida. So one of the benefits of living here is we're in a large metropolitan area. The Miami metro area is about 6.5 million people. And when we say the Miami metro area, we're basically looking at the Miami-Dade County area. We're looking at the Broward County area, which is where Fort Lauderdale is, and here in Palm Beach. So because of this, if you're into sports and you think you're gonna miss the sports, well, you're not. We have a lot of several professional sports teams, such as in football, we have the Miami Dolphins. In baseball, we have the Miami Marlins. And on that note, in baseball, we have a huge spring training presence here. We have at least 6 teams in the area, and if you go just beyond this exact area, there's a lot more. So if you think you're gonna miss sports, you're not. We even have hockey here, believe it or not. We also have a basketball team, the Miami Heat. So if let's say you're a fan of your Chicago Cubs fan and you want to see the Cubs play, well, they'll probably play the Marlins at some point. If you're a New York Mets fan, they're always playing the Florida Marlins since they're in the same division. So if you're into sports, we have so many venues in which you can watch sports. Also, from a cultural standpoint, because we're only about an hour's drive from Miami, there's so much to do down there. Now, we might not have the same theaters like New York has with the Broadway theater, but we come pretty darn close. The Miami area has a ton of stuff, the Miami Ballet and all kinds of theater events. So if you're looking for something culturally speaking, we have it all here. It's all very close. Also here in West Palm Beach, we have the Kravitz Center. And the Kravitz Center, in fact, has a lot of the same plays that you see on Broadway. They will have a season of that here. So in addition to that, they have things such as the Nutcracker, they have concerts and all that. So culturally speaking, there's a lot to do here in South Florida. And certainly one of the benefits of living here in South Florida is that the weather is nice like all year long. So if you're into playing like softball or soccer or volleyball or anything like that, even in January, the weather's pretty nice. So sports, they go on all year. If you're into water sports, there's no better place. So if you want to keep active and not hibernate in the winter and you want to keep active all year long, Palm Beach, Florida is the perfect place. So one of the cons of moving to Palm Beach, Florida is moving stinks. I've moved several places in my life. I haven't moved for 15 years, been in Palm Beach for 15 years, but I know what's involved when it comes to moving. Especially today, it's especially tricky. So because of what's happened with the pandemic, this is definitely a con. There's been huge supply shortage of materials. I have several current people moving into new construction communities that are currently experiencing delays. So moving stinks, and to time it for moving from another area to here in Palm Beach, Florida is especially tricky. Now, if you look at new construction, you have a whole nother element of complexity. Because new construction is delayed, lots of times there were homes that you could build within 8 months. Those same homes are now probably taking up to a year. If you want to learn how to navigate that, please reach out. Again, my information's down below. I would love to help you navigate through the new construction arena. If you go to the new construction, I need to say this, if you go to the new construction community or call and register yourself directly, they will not allow me to represent you. Do not do that. All right. What you do is have me call and register you on your behalf. I will be able to help represent you, give you independent representation, help you through the process. They won't allow you to do that if you go directly to the home on your first visit without me. So what does it cost to have a realtor represent you with new construction? Well, out of your pocket, absolutely nothing. It's the builder who pays me when it comes to you buying new construction. So one of the challenges today is how to navigate selling a home from another place, especially a far away, out-of-state place, and moving here to Palm Beach, Florida. It's tricky. With the current supply of homes, existing homes at a very scarce compared to recent history or over the last 20 years or so, it makes it very challenging. And new construction too, although we've seen a lot more of that come up, it still is a challenge. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out. So one of the big factors when it comes to cost of living is the cost of housing. Now, here's something that's very dynamic and changing now. Since the pandemic that started, let's call it March of 2020, we've had a lot of people considering to move down here. So one of the factors that we've seen is inflation, as we have across the country, but it's especially prevalent in housing. And when I talk about the cost of living, one of the big factors is housing when it comes to the cost of living. So our home prices here in Palm Beach, Florida are up over a year about anywhere between 20 to 25%. So the cost of living is starting to go up. Now I know in other parts of the country they've also gone up, but the rate of acceleration of home prices is heavier here. So the cost of living might start creeping up. The other big factor is that we've had a lot of people that moved here. The reason is because their jobs due to the pandemic are now remote. They went remote once we saw the pandemic, and now they're staying remote, or they're thinking about ways of transitioning to that kind of business. We see a lot of that now. So nonetheless, cost of living is definitely a factor. If that's the case, that's something you want to take into account. So one of the pros, look out here. We have some of the best beaches on the East Coast of the United States, no doubt. In fact, some of the best beaches in the entire world. I have myself, having lived up in the Northeast, we actually lived for a while up in East Hampton, New York. I would think that the beaches there are equivalent to this, so they're a little bit different, but I look at most of the beaches along the East Coast, these are some of the finest. So if you're into beaches and you like to come out to here, like I come out here at sunrise all the time, like I did this morning, and I do many mornings. If you like the beaches, this is one of the great pros about living here in Palm Beach, Florida. One of the other things I like about Palm Beach, Florida is it's so diverse. And so if you're living pretty much anywhere from around the country and you like a certain type of lifestyle, we likely have it in Palm Beach. So the difference between the southern part of the county and the northern part of the county couldn't be any more further. So in the south, we have the cities of Boca Raton. We have Delray Beach. Delray Beach also has a phenomenal beach, by the way. It's the only beach that's off a downtown area here in the state of Florida. But those areas down there, in general, are much more urban, much more going on, a lot more crowded, and maybe even a little bit more established and older. And when I say older, meaning a little bit older in terms of the settlements, that is. So, and to the north, to the other extreme, we have towns such as Jupiter and Tequesta up that way. They're much more rural. And in fact, Jupiter Beach is one of the nicest beaches that you will ever see. So, and everything in the middle. So the biggest city we have here in Palm Beach County is West Palm Beach. It's 117,000 people. Palm Beach County as a whole is 1.5 million people. So just think about that. If the largest city is 117 and we're looking at 1.5 million people, there's a big, there's just a lot of towns here. Boynton Beach is another big town. Lake Worth is another big town. But so if you want something a little bit more rural, we have it. Something a little bit more city, we have it. For the people who live, I've done a video on this. For the people who are used to living in Manhattan, let's say, downtown West Palm Beach is probably a pretty good fit because it's very walkable and a lot of things to do. So if you like the city, if you like the suburb, if you like something a little bit more out of middle of nowhere, we have it here in Palm Beach, Florida. Another area people consider is there's some rural places such as in the western part of the county, like areas such as in Loxahatchee and Westlake and those areas. So you can actually buy, and Jupiter Farm's another area like that. You can literally buy a piece of property there for like 1.5 acres, put a nice house there. You can either build that one from scratch or you can buy one established. So again, we have such diversity when it comes to Palm Beach, Florida, whether it's 1.5 acres in the middle of almost nowhere to the city of downtown West Palm Beach, we have it for you. One of the biggest cons when it comes to moving to Palm Beach, Florida is hurricanes. The weather can be very aggressive here. So from the end of May till November 30th is our hurricane season. And so we're always on the watch for what that season looks like. Now, we don't get a lot of strong storms in May, June, July. We do get some, but the real heart of the hurricane season is September. That by far is the most violent month for hurricanes, and we are always on the watch for that. So that's one of the cons when it comes to moving to Palm Beach, Florida, is the fact that we do get hurricanes here. Another con related to that is the cost of insurance. When it comes to purchasing home insurance, we pay higher premiums. Because a lot of carriers have decided that they don't want to be in Florida for A, for the hurricanes, and B, there's been some recent insurance fraud that's currently being dealt with by our local state and local government. I'm looking to hopefully curtail that. Hopefully we get that under control. But in general, one of the cons is the price of homeowners insurance is high here in Palm Beach, Florida. Also in general, the price of auto insurance is expensive. So one of the cons is certainly insurance here in Florida. One of the pros when it comes to living here in Palm Beach, Florida is your ability to get in and out of this area. We have one of the best airports I have ever seen in my entire life. I used to travel a lot, and trust me, the Palm Beach International Airport is one of the best airports you will ever come across. The ability to get in and out of the airport is mind-boggling how easy it is. Now, it's not the biggest airport in the world, so you're not going to get some direct flights to some more obscure places. But if you're going to places such as Dallas, Fort Worth, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, you're going to be able to get flights out of there. And the ability, the convenience that they make it is just incredible. They have a cell phone lot. When I go pick up people from the airport, I just go to the cell phone lot. They call me, boom, we're in and out like that. It's really that easy. So if you are looking to travel to someplace a little bit further or a little bit more of an obscure location within the United States, you're going to probably end up going to the Fort Lauderdale Airport or the Miami International Airport. So we do have those as options. It's a little bit more of a drive. It'll probably take an hour to get Fort Lauderdale from Palm Beach with traffic to that airport. But so we do have that option. But Again, the best airport, if you're going to places around the country, for most places, the Palm Beach International Airport is one of the best airports and the best ways to travel here in and out of Palm Beach, Florida. So if you're looking at moving to Palm Beach, Florida, of course, one of the elements you're going to take into consideration is the cost of housing. The average price of a home, single-family home in Palm Beach County right now is around $475,000 to $500,000. The numbers have been very volatile this past year in terms of the price appreciation. It's slowed a little bit in the last months, but that's more or less what you can expect. So here on the island, Palm Beach Island, like you look at this beautiful home, we do have some very, very expensive homes here. But don't let that scare you, because that is the price of the average home. It's about $475,000 to about $500,000, despite the fact that Palm Beach Island might be like it's considered, by some measures, the fourth most expensive zip code in the United States. But there's something here for everyone. Although we do have $50 million homes here in Palm Beach, Florida, there's a lot of very affordable housing you can find here in Palm Beach, Florida. Also, when it comes to housing, is you have to be careful, because there are not all areas of Palm Beach, Florida are beautiful. Or I should say, not all areas of Palm Beach, Florida are safe. So you want to really take a look at the crime statistics and look around. Look at the biggest city in Palm Beach, which is West Palm Beach. There are some beautiful areas in West Palm Beach. I'll give you one as an example. The area of El Cid is absolutely gorgeous. But then if you look at some areas just north of the downtown area, there's some pretty rough areas, and I would avoid them. So if you're looking at and considering a move to Palm Beach, Florida, you really need to work with a realtor who knows the areas, because you can make a big mistake. Choosing your area and the location of where you want to live in Palm Beach, Florida is very, very important. You will absolutely enjoy the holiday season that we have here. It is tremendous. The weather is absolutely gorgeous this time of year. I did a video recently on the season. Our season has just begun here in Palm Beach, and we get a lot of people from around the world that come visit us for a very good reason. Downtown West Palm Beach during the month of December for the holidays, Hanukkah and Christmas, and into New Year's, it is one of the most festive places you will find in the whole world. We have lots of places around the world have the tree lighting ceremonies. We have one here on Palm Beach Island, actually. The beginning of December, they do that on Worth Avenue. But also in downtown West Palm Beach, they have SANDI, the sand tree, and she basically it's a giant sand sculpture that they make, and they make the sand castle sing. It truly is festive. Centennial Square and Centennial Fountain, they have lights and goes to the music. Rosemary Square, they have the wishing tree that will synchronize to Christmas music. And believe it or not, artificially speaking, that is, it snows every half hour in downtown West Palm Beach in the month of December. Palm Beach truly is the best place in the world to experience the holidays.